Well, to talk more about it, let's welcome in Daniel Zarilli. He's the Chief Climate and Sustainability Officer at Columbia University and formerly the Chief Climate Policy Advisor for the New York City Mayor's Office. We really appreciate your time this morning. We just heard a little bit about some of these flood walls. You actually helped launch these coastal resiliency projects when you worked for the city. The writing absolutely on the wall after Superstorm Sandy hit in 2012. Explain how critical this flood wall and these floodgates are for the future of New York.
Great, thanks for having me. It's really important to go back to that point when Hurricane Sandy hit the city. 44 New Yorkers were lost. We had $19 billion in damages and lost economic activity. And you have to remember that we're a coastal city. We have what's estimated to be 520 miles of coastline. And for the most part, there were zero coastal protections in place when Hurricane Sandy hit. And our coastline is full of housing, recreational park areas, businesses. We're very vulnerable. And so what you're seeing is this new class of infrastructure that's coming online to deal with these risks that are growing from sea level rise and climate change, which of course is primarily caused by the burning of fossil fuels. We have a big challenge ahead of us. And what the city is doing right now is really confronting that challenge head on.
So looking at maps of future projections of storm surge in New York, you can actually really see the coastal areas that could be badly impacted. Now, in Katie's story before we actually brought you in, it briefly mentioned another project underway that is raising the coastline. Now, will these projects be enough, or will more measures need to be taken to protect New York?
Yeah, you're seeing the first generation of projects really starting to come online, and it's projects that are both providing that necessary flood protection from coastal storms, taking into account sea level rise, but also really providing a daily amenity. Many of these projects are park projects that we're elevating the park, or we're utilizing park space to absorb water. In some cases, it's in the Rockaway Peninsula. There's a brand new boardwalk that is part of the flood protection system on the Rockaways. And so what really is happening here is an evolution of the city and its coastline to deal with these new risks, but also not shut ourselves off from the waterfront, which is one of our great natural assets here in New York City.
It is so beautiful
It
on the
is
waterfront
amazing.
there. Now, there are other cities that are facing the same problems to combat sea level rise. Has New York considered any of those options as potential solutions?
I think it's from the beginning, New York City has been looking around the world for good examples, and whether it's in Rotterdam or New Orleans or Tokyo and really just all over the globe looking for good examples. And what we learned is that there are a lot of great technologies and solutions out there, but the solutions in New York have to be very specific. We're a 400-year-old city with a lot of built-up infrastructure. We have our own risks. And so we can take a lot of great lessons learned from around the world, but we have to apply them in a very New York-specific way for them to work. And that's what you're seeing happen around the city right now.
All right, Daniel Zarilli with Columbia University, thank you so much for being with us. Great insight.